Once upon a time in a remote village lived a man named Rahim. He was extremely poor. Along with poverty, he was also quite lazy. He would spend the entire day wandering in search of work but return empty-handed every evening. His wife would taunt him for his poverty and scold him harshly. Eventually, things got so bad that they had nothing to eat. Fed up with Rahim's laziness, one day his wife mixed poison into his food. Before he left the house, she packed the meal for him as usual and handed it to him. Rahim left the house and started walking aimlessly. He kept thinking, if I don't find work today either, I'll have to face my wife's insults again. But who would give a job to a useless man like me? I don't even have any skills. These thoughts kept spinning in his head. As he walked on, he eventually entered a forest. It was nearing midday, and hunger started gnawing at him. He began looking for a place to sit and eat. Near a small hill, he found a clean, peaceful spot and sat down. The forest was eerily quiet at that moment. Rahim took out the food and was about to start eating when suddenly he heard the loud trumpet of an elephant nearby. He was horrified. He looked up and saw a massive elephant heading straight toward him. In panic, Rahim couldn't think of anything else, so he threw the food in front of the elephant. The elephant stopped. It sniffed the food, then began to eat it. Rahim watched silently, trembling with fear. But then something strange happened. Within moments, the elephant stumbled, wavered, and collapsed to the ground dead. Rahim immediately realized that the food had been poisoned, and that his wife had tried to kill him. The thought made his heart sink. He began to wonder, does a poor and helpless man even deserve to live? Everyone hates me. Lost in these dark thoughts, he suddenly noticed a group of soldiers approaching. They quickly surrounded him, but instead of attacking, they began congratulating him. Sir, that elephant was mad and dangerous. You have done a great deed by killing it. Rahim stood frozen, shocked by what he was hearing. He tried to speak, but before he could say a word, the leader of the soldiers stepped forward and said, "We were sent to track down and kill this rogue elephant. It had been spreading fear and destruction in the city. Just a little while ago, it killed a farmer who was working in the fields. The king had placed a reward on its head, but no one had been able to defeat it, until now." When Rahim saw that the soldiers believed he had killed the elephant, and were praising him as a hero, his chest swelled with pride. Standing tall, he declared, "Yes, it was I who killed the mad elephant. Now the people of the city are free from its terror." "Indeed, sir," one of the soldiers replied, "you are most deserving of the royal reward. Come, let us take you to His Majesty so he may honor you properly." Rahim accompanied the soldiers to the royal palace. In front of the king, Rahim narrated a glorified version of the tale, how he bravely fought and killed the dangerous elephant. His story spread quickly throughout the court. The king was deeply impressed by Rahim's heroism and rewarded him with riches. He then said, "A brave man like you deserves a high position in our royal court." The king appointed Rahim as a royal servant. Rahim was overjoyed beyond measure. The king even gifted him a fine house to live in. Word of Rahim's achievement eventually reached his wife. Deep down, she was delighted, but in front of others, she kept her composure. Since it had now become known that she had tried to poison her husband, she wept and begged for forgiveness in public, expressing her shame and foolishness. People began to feel great pity for her. Eventually, these stories also reached Rahim. First he was shocked, but after hearing repeated accounts from people, along with their insistence that his wife had truly repented and missed him dearly, Rahim decided to visit her. He brought her back with him to his new house. One day, Rahim was resting at home when he suddenly heard a loud commotion outside. It felt as if some great calamity had struck. He quickly slipped on his sandals and rushed out of bed. Outside, a terrified crowd was screaming and running in panic. Rahim moved forward, puzzled. Ahead, a group of people had formed a tight circle around something. As Rahim peered into the center of the crowd, his blood ran cold. Lying there were the mangled bodies of several young men, covered in blood. One was missing a hand. Another had his skull chewed through. One had no legs at all. Blood was splattered everywhere. As Rahim approached, the people respectfully made way for him. When he asked what had happened, an old man replied, "Son Rahim, what can we say? This city is often plagued by a terrifying beast. It appears out of nowhere, attacks suddenly, kills a few and wounds many others. The people you saw fleeing in fear, they were trying to escape that very creature." The king asked, "Rahim, did you witness the chaos that unfolded in the city today?" Rahim nodded. "Yes, Your Majesty." The king spoke solemnly. "Rahim, for a long time, our people have suffered under the torment of a terrifying beast. This creature resides in a deep cave, hidden in a remote part of the forest outside the city. Whenever it comes to the city, it kills people and destroys everything in its path. In the beginning, many brave warriors tried to kill it, but none succeeded. All of them became its prey. Now no one dares to confront it anymore. But you, Rahim, are a brave young man. You proved your courage by taking down the mad elephant within minutes, a creature that had terrorized the people. We believe you are the right man to face this beast. You will be provided with as many young men as you require for help." Hearing this, Rahim's heart sank. He was paralyzed with fear. The beast that no brave warrior could face. How could a coward like me possibly defeat it? He could already see death dancing before his eyes. The king waited for his reply. Rahim took a deep breath, composed himself, and said, "Your Majesty, it is your graciousness that considers this humble servant worthy of such an honor. But who am I to deserve such kindness? Still, just as I ended the mad elephant's tyranny, I will rid the city of this monstrous beast as well." He had barely finished speaking when the royal court erupted into chants. "Long live brave Rahim! Long live the lion-hearted hero!" Overwhelmed by the praise, Rahim puffed out his chest and boasted, "Your Majesty, I alone am enough for hundreds of such beasts. You shall see. I will take down this monster all by myself." Impressed by his confidence, or perhaps amused by his overconfidence, the king granted him permission to go alone. When Rahim's wife found out that he had, in a moment of pride, volunteered to face the terrifying beast all by himself, she was devastated. She beat her head in despair, crying bitterly. She knew now, not only was Rahim unlikely to return alive, it was nearly impossible. The king asked, "Rahim, did you witness the chaos that unfolded in the city today?" Rahim nodded. "Yes, Your Majesty." The king spoke solemnly. "Rahim, for a long time, our people have suffered under the torment of a terrifying beast. This creature resides in a deep cave, hidden in a remote part of the forest outside the city. Whenever it comes to the city, it kills people and destroys everything in its path. In the beginning, many brave warriors tried to kill it, but none succeeded. All of them became its prey. Now no one dares to confront it anymore. But you, Rahim, are a brave young man. You proved your courage by taking down the mad elephant within minutes, a creature that had terrorized the people. We believe you are the right man to face this beast. You will be provided with as many young men as you require for help." Hearing this, Rahim's heart sank. He was paralyzed with fear. The beast that no brave warrior could face. How could a coward like me possibly defeat it? He could already see death dancing before his eyes. The king waited for his reply. Rahim took a deep breath, composed himself, and said, "Your Majesty, it is your graciousness that considers this humble servant worthy of such an honor. But who am I to deserve such kindness? Still, just as I ended the mad elephant's tyranny, I will rid the city of this monstrous beast as well." He had barely finished speaking when the royal court erupted into chants. "Long live brave Rahim! Long live the lion-hearted hero!" Overwhelmed by the praise, Rahim puffed out his chest and boasted, "Your Majesty, I alone am enough for hundreds of such beasts. You shall see. I will take down this monster all by myself." Impressed by his confidence, or perhaps amused by his overconfidence, the king granted him permission to go alone. When Rahim's wife found out that he had, in a moment of pride, volunteered to face the terrifying beast all by himself, she was devastated. She beat her head in despair, crying bitterly. She knew now. Not only was Rahim unlikely to return alive, it was nearly impossible. Rahim had asked the king for a week's time. Both he and his wife spent their days thinking of ways to kill the dreadful beast. 3 days passed in this manner. On the 4th day, Rahim's wife, losing patience, said, "Days are slipping by. If the king's given time runs out, you will be in serious trouble. And we still haven't come up with a plan to kill that terrifying creature. You should just take God's name and set out. Maybe God will show you mercy and a way will be revealed." What choice did Rahim have? He finally set out on his fearsome journey. He carried with him a dagger, a sword, and a large rope tied around his waist. He had never used the dagger or the sword in his life, but took them for self-defense. He had learned the path to the monster's cave from the people thoroughly. Along the way, he practiced with the sword and dagger, so he could use them if needed. After 2 days of travel, he reached the part of the forest where the cave was located. Evening shadows were growing darker. The forest echoed eerily. Rahim saw that the area around the cave had scorched grass and burnt trees. The rocks near the cave entrance had turned black, as if someone had set them on fire. The cave's mouth was enormous, and pitch darkness loomed inside. For about a furlong around, not even a bird sat on a tree. A strange silence and eerie stillness ruled the place. For a moment, Rahim felt his blood run cold, but he gathered courage. Where could he even run to? Rahim climbed a dense tree far from the cave. Around the tree, thorny bushes grew wildly. He had to use the rope to climb up the tree. By now, darkness had completely spread, and the jungle echoed with strange sounds. After a while, the moon appeared, casting its cool light over the trees. The scene looked both beautiful and terrifying. Silence still hung over the cave, which made Rahim think either the beast was inside or had gone out. Sitting on the tree, Rahim eventually dozed off. To prevent himself from falling, he had tied himself to the branches with the rope. Suddenly a thud woke him up. Startled, he sat up and listened closely. The sounds were coming from the direction of the cave. He looked toward the cave, and his hair stood on end. A massive creature was walking slowly toward the cave. Its body was completely black, and its face resembled that of a camel. Its nostrils were large, and it had sharp horns on its head, short but very pointed. Its body was also camel-like, heavy and huge. A large hump stood out on its back. Its legs were long and jointed, and its feet resembled the claws of a giant bird. Its long tail was moving like a fast wriggling snake, and sharp thorns grew on its tail. Flames shot out of its nostrils. Now Rahim understood why the grass and trees nearby were burned. The creature turned its head around now and then, as if suspicious that someone might be watching. Because of its bizarre and horrifying appearance, people had named it the terrifying beast. The creature was so heavy that each step made the ground thud beneath it. While walking, it suddenly turned its head toward the tree Rahim was sitting on. Oh God! Its eyes glowed red like blood, and a faint red light shimmered from them. It opened its mouth and spewed a huge burst of flames. The next moment it disappeared into the cave, and then stood still just outside it. A terrifying roar echoed from inside the cave, followed by a wave of blazing fire surging out. The monstrous beast had emerged from the cave. Its glowing red eyes were fixed on Rahim. Rahim began remembering God in his heart. The beast roared fiercely. Flames shot out in the direction where Rahim stood. He quickly jumped aside. The terrifying creature kept spitting fire at him, while Rahim kept dodging and saving himself with agile movements. Then, aiming carefully, Rahim hurled his dagger. It struck deep into the monster's neck. The beast let out a horrifying scream and swung its massive tail toward Rahim with full force. He tried to dodge, but the tail struck him, sending him tumbling far away. But he quickly jumped back to his feet. The beast was now charging toward him again. With no weapon in hand, Rahim picked up a nearby stone and threw it straight into the beast's eye. The eye burst. Roaring in pain, the beast swung its tail again, but this time Rahim escaped unharmed. He quickly hurled another stone, this time hitting the other eye and blinding the creature completely. Now the terrifying beast was spinning around blindly in pain and confusion. Taking his chance, Rahim quickly pulled the rope tied around his waist and wrapped it around the beast's legs. The creature lost balance and fell to the ground, flailing its limbs helplessly, unable to get up. Seeing the opportunity, Rahim drew his sword and struck at the beast's neck. The head was severed and rolled away. After a few moments of twitching, the monster was dead. Rahim sighed in relief. He cut off the beast's head to take with him, so the people of the city would believe him. Then he began walking back toward the city. On his way back, the old wise man appeared at the same spot. He smiled at Rahim and said, "My son Rahim, listen to me carefully and try your best to follow what I say. The naf's inner self is like a wild horse, it must be tamed. When a person falls into the trap of worldly desires, his heart becomes dark. Such a person distances himself from Allah, and one who is distant from Allah lives in fear and sorrow. The monster you defeated, it was actually your own inner desires, which had taken the form of a terrifying beast. You were frightened of it, but when you remembered Allah, the fear vanished and your heart found peace. The men that the beast had killed, they were your conscience, which